Hi, I'm Mike with Holmes Quality Products. Today, I want to talk to you about the best credit cards for beginners, like simple cards, easy to use, usually a little easier to get approved for. I'm going to name a few cards here that if you're just starting out, you could try these cards first. Now, one thing I would recommend is for you to go try a pre-approval tool, because if you get pre-approved for a card, you're way more likely to get it. So, Citi, Capital One, Chase, I believe, I can't remember all exactly, but a lot of them have pre-approval tools. Just go through there, check it. If it says that you'll probably get approved for the card, that's a good first card probably to get, because that way you're not doing a hard pull for nothing. When you do the pre-approval tools, most of the time those are soft pulls pretty much every time you look at one. So when you go in there and you do the pre-approval to see if you can get the card, you're not hurting your credit while you're doing this. Now with these cards for beginners that I'm going to mention, it's usually better to try to get a simple card. If you can get something within the bank you're using, that usually makes things a little easier too. So if you're using Capital One as your bank, your main bank for checking and savings, sometimes it's better to go ahead and get a card through them because it's easier to manage everything. Like instead of you jumping from Capital One over to Chase and Wells Fargo or whoever, it's easier like you log in to check your checking and savings and here's your credit card. And that goes for whatever bank you're using. So if you're using Wells Fargo, they have plenty of cards to choose from. And if you're using somebody like Chase, they have cards to choose from. But like I said, I think it makes it simple when you're first starting to get credit cards, that if you can go to wherever your checking and savings is and have a card with them, it just makes it a little more streamlined and simple to keep up with stuff. Once you start getting used to it, you can start, expanding out and having different banks for different things or however you want to do it. I think at first, this is the easiest way to do it. So also when you're looking for the card, like I usually try to recommend at least cards that are, one, no annual fee. Like I don't usually recommend anyone getting their first credit card something with an annual fee. No annual fee, simple card, like a 2% card would be nice. But if you can get a 1.5% something back, you're going to get some kind of cash back, and just simple to use. So let's get into some of these, or at least a few of these simple cards, easy starter cards. Okay, the first card I'm going to mention is the Capital One Quicksilver. So the Quicksilver card is pretty easy to get. That's a plus, one of the plus sides to it. Capital One tends to prefer people with like a little subprime credit, not horrible credit, but subprime credits. Like you don't need to have, an 800 plus score to get their cards and things like that. The Quicksilver, it's simple. It's 1.5% on everything. You don't have to say, oh, do I use this for dining or whatever, just to kind of, like I said, get yourself started. I know a lot of my videos I talk about how to optimize these things, but just to get started, 1.5% back on everything. So if you were to pay with a debit card, you would probably get nothing back. Most debit cards, there's a few that have the exception. Most debit cards give you nothing back. Treat it like your debit card. If you get fuel, you go ahead and deduct it just like you paid with your debit card. But the difference is you're going to get a percentage throughout the year. You can save it up, use it for a vacation, Christmas, birthday, whatever you want to do. But at least you're getting something back. So I would definitely recommend the Capital One Quicksilver as a great first credit card. All right, next card I'm going to mention is the Discover Secured Credit Card. This card's going to give you 2% back on restaurants and 2% back on gas, and then you're going to get 1% on everything else. But also with Discover, in the first year, they're going to double it. So say at the end of the year you get you've saved $100. Well, they're going to give you $100 back after that first year. You end up spending enough to be able to get like 200 back. They'll give you 200 back. So whatever you get back in cash back, they're going to match that for your first year. Only the first year, but they're going to match it. So basically, it's almost like you're getting 4% on gas, 4% on restaurants, and 2% on everything else for the first year. And then by the end of that first year, if you've done really good with it, they may turn it into a regular card, but you'll also have credit probably by the end of the first year to be able to get some of the other cards that are like another tier up or whatever from that. But it's a secured card, so remember you have to usually put money in. So if you put $500 in, you get a $500 limit. But secured cards are one of the easiest to get approved for, and this is a great beginner card. The next card I'm going to mention is the Chase Freedom Rise. It's a simple 1.5%, just like the Capital One Quicksilver, but this is in the Chase ecosystem. So Chase has a Rule 524. You can only get 5 cards, not 5 Chase cards, but 5 cards within 2 years, or they start denying you for cards. The other good thing is Chase has a pretty good ecosystem. If you get later on, once you get a couple of the other cards, get the Chase Sapphire Preferred. It's a good card and it has transfer partners like Hyatt and Southwest. So this is a good introduction into a good trifecta eventually. Same with the Quicksilver. With the Quicksilver card, later you get the Saver 1, and those two combine pretty good. And then you can do product changes also. So with the Quicksilver, you can turn it into like a Venture 1 or something like that card. So now you have points you can transfer out to other things. So there's different things you can do as you go on. But just to start out, these are 3 good starting cards. The Discover has a really good return after the first year. And then the Quicksilver and the Chase Freedom Rise are a good introduction into an ecosystem within Capital One or Chase that you can expand on other cards and actually be able to get more value out of them. And remember, like I always say, you want to treat your credit cards like debit cards, like treat it like cash. Only spend what you have. You should be paying these off every month. If you're paying interest, you might as well cancel out any idea of getting cash back, because the interest rates are so much higher that you're going to lose money. And the thing is, I'm trying to help you gain money, get free cash back, free things. So you need to be paying these off every month. Unless it's an emergency, treat it like cash. If you only have $100 to go spend somewhere, don't go spend $200 because you're using a credit card. Only spend $100 so you can pay it off at the end of the month. So if you don't have the cash, you don't have the credit. Just stick to that rule and you'll do good. And remember, once you get this first card, it's going to help build your credit to get these others for farther expansion or ecosystems, or to do bigger things later, or to get more cash back later. However you want to, whether it's travel or cash back, these are introductions into that. Now with the Capital One and the Chase, I think the ecosystem's a little better as far as if you want to do travel later. But if you're doing cash back, Discover's not bad. Capital One is trying to buy Discover, so we'll see how that goes. But anyway, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. If you liked the video, give me a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in the next one.